kid got half the school to pay for something that didn't exist. On Monday morning, he walked into school holding a clipboard. At the top of it, the clipboard said waiting list, and that's it. And then there were slots for names. Well, he starts talking about it and showing people, and they ask him, hey, waiting list for what? He says, I actually can't tell you, but it's awesome. You want on the list? Sure. It's just $2 to secure your spot. Okay, sure. Here, kid pays. Gets his name added to the list. And how it usually works is people start noticing, and that's exactly what they did. And then they were curious as well. Now, not everybody was dumb enough to sign up and pay for a waiting list spot for something that they had no idea about, but a lot of kids did. By the next day, word had spread a bunch, and more kids wanted on the waiting list. But that's when he upped his game. The waiting list is actually full, you guys, but we did add 10 more spots. It's just $5 this time to hold it. And everyone did. People signed up for this thing. Teachers start asking and the parents started hearing about this. A teacher asked them, hey, so what exactly is the waiting list for? Don't worry about it. It's exclusive. After about 3 weeks of doing this and making a lot of money, somebody cornered him. It was the school janitor. Hey kid, what's going on here? I demand an answer onto what this is. He just smiles and says, there isn't one. This is a waiting list to nothing. Oh, I also spent all the money. So, what are you gonna do about it? The janitor gets the principal suspends him. But he never had to pay the money back, so I guess that's a win. But he is a scammer, so it's bad to scam people, right? There was this kid whose locker was in the best spot of the school. It sat directly under one of the school's air conditioning vents. It's nice and chilly over here. Nobody paid attention to it, not really even him. Until one day he throws a Gatorade on the top shelf of his locker. Comes back a couple hours later, whoa, this is ice cold. And it's cold. So the next day he tries it again with a soda, a warm soda. He puts it in the morning, he checks it after lunch. Oh, that's a crispy soda. That's when he gets an idea. Instead of filling the top shelf of his locker with his own drinks, he starts renting shelf space. $1 to keep your drink in there until lunch. $2 if you wanted it until the end of the day, to have a cold drink for practice or something. People didn't believe him at first. Dude, there's no way your locker is like a refrigerator. Until one dude tried it. He went to pick up his Dr. Pepper before lunch, and it was cold. No, guys, it actually worked. It was first come, first serve, until the top shelf of the locker was rented out completely. And there was always someone who couldn't get a spot because it was booked up. Kids lined up before the first bell at his locker, holding milk, Gatorade. One kid said, will it freeze my ice cream? He had it organized. He put sticky notes on with the person's name so he knows whose was whose. Teachers found out, but they were just amazed. Like, yo, what a smart kid. And what a strong air conditioning vent. And according to the students, that was the most valuable locker in the school. Yeah, I believe it. And guess what? You gotta respect the hustle. He bullied the wrong kid. This bully started messing with one of the smaller kids by the lockers one day, talking trash and getting into his face. Nice hair, ginger boy. Trying to get a reaction, but the smaller kid ignored him. What, you got nothing to say? Then, out of nowhere, the smaller kid grabs the combination lock that's hanging off his locker, and he swings it across the bully's face. This kid's kind of bleeding a bit, he's crying, teacher comes running, but the smaller kid skipped off the class, and for some reason he did not get in trouble for this. Well, his next class was woodshop. After the bully got himself all cleaned up, he started to get mad again. Yeah, he got a cheap shot on me. I'm gonna find him. Oh, I'm gonna get him back. The bully then goes to this kid's woodshop class, and he walks in. He sees the small kid in the back corner working. Now, the small kid is working with 2x4s, planks of wood. What the bully thought it would be a good idea to mess with him again, I don't know, but he does. Hey, you're freaking dead. Without reacting much, you guessed it, smacks him right across the face with a plank of wood. The kid freaks out again, starts crying. He's bleeding again. This time, they both get sent to the office, but the woodshop class had a ton of people say that this bully went to attack the small kid first. And if the small kid didn't defend himself, well, it would have been bad for him. The bully got expelled. Careful who you mess with. Bada bing, bada boom. There was a kid that carried a Polaroid camera every day at school. People just thought he liked taking pictures. He would stop, shoot a picture, and move on. He would stick the photo in his backpack. Nobody ever asked to see them because he never offered. Freshman year, he was taking pictures. Sophomore year, still taking pictures. Junior, senior year, taking pictures every day. But he always took pictures of very specific things, like somebody slipped and fell in the cafeteria, teachers mid-sneeze, mascot losing his head at a football game, Somebody just got dumped and is crying in the bathroom. Every embarrassing moment. Then graduation rolls around. Everybody's signing their yearbooks, getting emotional. High school graduation. That's when this kid shows up with a giant 3-ring binder, and he sets it down on the lunch table. Inside this binder are hundreds of Polaroid pictures. Every single embarrassing moment from freshman to senior year. Everyone wanted to look at it, but he said, nobody can look at it until this is auctioned off. And if nobody buys it, I'm burning it at the end of the year bonfire. And just like that, people were bidding. Half the graduation class was standing around him and this binder, and they were offering money. And it got pretty intense. The highest bidder gets the binder, and they can do whatever they want with these. It ends up selling for $300. Person that bought it just sat down, let everyone look over his shoulder while he flipped through it. And actually, those embarrassing moments made people very emotional. It was kind of wholesome. And that is weird, but beautiful. This kid noticed something about the Gatorade machine at his school. Only 2 flavors, yellow and blue. Now, nobody touched the yellow ones because the yellow Gatorades suck. So whenever they went there, they were getting the blue ones. Well, one morning before first period, he walks to the Gatorade machine and he notices that there's only 8 blue Gatorades left, but there's a ton of yellow ones. Well, he took a risk and he decided to buy every single blue Gatorade left, all 8. He carries them to his locker and he puts them in this little cooler he would bring to school every day that held his lunch. It kept the Gatorades cold. Well, at lunch, everybody went to the vending machine. They were ticked off. Wait, only yellow left? That sucks! Kids are standing there like, yo, what happened? That's when this kid came out of nowhere. Yeah, sorry guys, there was only 8 blue Gatorades left this morning, so I got them all. Yo, can I buy one from you? How much you gonna give me? $1.50 like the vending machine takes? No, you see, because now there's supply and demand. I gotta charge you more than the vending machine. Fine, I'll give you $3. Yeah, dude, I'm so thirsty. 4? Deal. He sold all of those Gatorades for an upcharge, and he made pure profit that day. It wasn't crazy money. The next day, he tried to do it again, but at that point, the school had restocked all the blue Gatorades, so it would have been insane to buy 30 of them. But hey, that's the mindset you need, my friends, and you gotta respect the frickin' hustle, baby. There was a kid whose family owned a capybara, and one day, him and his parents got permission to bring this animal into class. Everybody figured it would stay for about an hour. Instead, this thing spent the entire day wandering around campus with this kid. Everybody meet Gerald. Teachers loved it, the principal loved it, the students loved it, and by lunch it had become the most popular student in the school. Well, that day was the day that student elections were happening, and somebody thought it would be funny to quickly make a bunch of posters. Vote Gerald the capybara for class president. The teachers and the principal thought that nobody would take this seriously, but then people started writing his name on the ballots. Gerald. A lot of kids did this. Teachers started hearing people talk about it in the hallways. Who are you voting for? Gerald has my vote. Well, election day comes. Votes get counted. And somehow the capybara wins by a lot of votes. The principal had to stand in front of the school and explain that unfortunately the class president has to be a student. So the student with the next most votes won, and they anointed the capybara as vice president. Way to go, Gerald! This kid started a newspaper at school, and it wasn't the school newspaper. Every Friday he would show up with around 20 copies of this newspaper he would print at home. And here's the thing. Everything in this newspaper was 100% true. It was all just completely unnecessary. One headline said, Mr. Jenkins bought new shoes. All right. Another one was how the science teacher switched from black coffee to coffee with vanilla creamer. There was an entire article covering the fact that some kid's dad bought a brand new lawnmower, and one about another kid's grandpa who got a new hearing aid. Nobody needed to know any of this stuff, but people couldn't stop reading it. Hey, did you read Johnny's newspaper this week? Yeah, I read that Steven's cat no longer has fleas. The headlines were crazy. Stuff like, Mrs. Carter has worn the same watch every day for 8 years. Or, the principal parks in a different spot every time it rains. Or, every Wednesday the janitor whistles the same song. Teachers would buy and read these newspapers as well. Hey, how did you know I bought new shoes? The kid would be like, oh, I pay attention. Pretty soon everyone got paranoid because they're like, this kid knows everything. People started acting different because they didn't want to be a headline. But this kid didn't post rumors or gossip. It was just simple stuff. It was harmless. Nobody was getting roasted. It was just information. You know what? You gotta respect the hustle. This kid had the weirdest job at school. He fixed people's reputations. See, anytime somebody embarrassed themselves, they would feel horrible. They would feel like everyone's talking about them. It wasn't a nice feeling. Like if someone was tripped in the hallway, call the teacher mom, threw up at lunch, everybody would spend the rest of the day talking about it, unless this kid got involved. Because what he would do is if he was paid enough money or given something valuable enough, he would start an even crazier rumor about somebody else. Not really mean rumors, just unbelievable ones that would make everybody forget what that one kid went through. Dude, you hear that one kid, Tyler, brought a turtle to class? No, it wasn't a turtle, it was a bag of turtle poop. And once something like that spread around, the previous embarrassment, the one the kid paid to get rid of, went away. And it worked brilliantly because people's attention spans are shorter than you think. When other people found out who this reputation fixer was, he began to have clients. People kept his phone number in their phone just in case they would ever need him. And a lot of kids did. Bro, you gotta help me. Text me the details, send me $15, and by lunch, you'll be good. He would then get the text, the money, he would disappear. By lunch, wow, kid's a genius. Gone. You gotta respect the hustle. Every football practice, the kids would come outside, and they would all dump their backpack into one giant pile right next to the building. Well, by the time practice was over, everyone getting their backpack was a mess. I think mine's in the bottom. Some kids had the same exact backpack, so sometime they would take it home on accident. It'd be a huge mess. Well, that's when this one kid who wasn't even on the team got an idea. One day before practice, he showed up with this little table and a basket full of bottle caps. Each bottle cap had a number painted on it, and there was 2 of each number. Here was the thing. When you handed him your backpack, he would clip one bottle cap to the zipper and give you the other bottle cap with the same number on it. So just like checking a code at a restaurant. Hey, Billy, what's up? Here's my pack. Thank you, sir. All right, you are number 3. Here's your cap. Hey, thanks, man. Have a great bat. Have a great practice, Chief. Practice ends, the players run over, they form a line, and each person gets their backpack in an organized fashion. The coaches even started using this. It's actually quite brilliant when you think about it. And you see, he didn't charge a single penny for this service. But what he was offering was so valuable, a lot of people tipped him. So did the coaches. So he made some extra cash. Plus, he wasn't doing anything after school anyway. If they didn't tip him in cash, they would give him snacks or a Gatorade. They called him Backpack Guy. Gotta respect the hustle. At one school, there was a poop bandit, and nobody knew who it was, because nobody ever saw him. All they knew was that every couple of weeks, he would strike again. For example, one morning, a teacher opened up her desk drawer. Oh, there's poop in here! Now, the poop bandit would strike in many different places. Desks, lockers, on the floor of the hallway. And every time he did this, there was always a little note, and the note would say, "If my demands are not met, the poop bandit will strike again." And whenever this would happen, people would be freaking out. But here's the problem. There were never any demands, just a note. And because there were no demands, there was no way to meet the demands, so every few weeks, he would strike again. But he would still leave the note. It was the absolute biggest mystery in school, and it stopped for a few years. And then it happened again. People think it's a copycat bandit, because the first bandit obviously had to have graduated. But still, what a legend? This kid's family owned a carpet store, which meant their garage was full of carpet samples. Little squares that are all different colors and different textures. Little mini carpets. And now most people would have looked at these and saw worthless pieces of carpet, but he did not ignore it. He saw a business opportunity. So one Monday, he brings a stack of these carpet samples to school. He takes 2 and sets them on each side of his desk. And that, for that class, was where he put his elbows. Bro, what are those? Oh, these? They're desk carpets. They keep my elbows comfortable all class period. And that's all he had to say. Immediately, people wanted these little luxurious desk mats. And he just starts charging $5, $2, honestly, whatever people had. Bag of chips? Sure, here's 2 squares. Enjoy your class. After a while of doing this, a bunch of students at that school were using these every single day. The more the demand went up, the more he charged for the nicer quality fabrics. Business was absolutely flippin' booming. In total, he made around $700, and then the school shut him down, because that's what schools do. That's how you gotta think, and you gotta respect it. He was a kid, his mom dragged him to the nearest 7-Eleven. I don't wanna go. Well, that's too bad. Well, they get there, she goes in the store, but he waits outside. He then sees this older, strange-looking guy sitting against a wall. Hey, you want to see something cool? And he's a kid, so he said yes. Of course he wants to see something cool, which you should never do. The man then smiles, and then pulls off a prosthetic leg, and showed this kid his leg stump. Look at this. The leg stump had a very weird smiley face drawn on it in Sharpie. The kid absolutely freaks out. That's not cool. The man then panics because I guess he had good intentions. Oh, no, wait, look, it's actually cool, look. The kid's now ugly crying. The mom runs out of the store. What's going on? His leg. The man's embarrassed. The mom's freaking out at him. I don't know why he showed the kid his leg stump anyway, but she went home with her kid. And years later, when he sees a 7-Eleven, he freaks out a little bit still. There was this kid in high school who refused to buy a desk chair, and instead he would sit on 3 milk crates stacked on top of each other every single day when he was gaming. All of his friends roasted him for it. That's your chair, bro? You're a freaking loser. But he would always say, why would I spend hundreds on a chair when these crates work? Well, one day his back starts killing him. His legs kept falling asleep, and that is actually when he realized there's a reason why people buy actual chairs. Well, that's kind of where I'm at, guys. I've been editing YouTube shorts in this random chair for 8 hours a day, every day. I finally upgraded. It's 100% the upgrade I've been needing. Kaiser 3. Look at these armrests. What? It's got a magnetic pillow. My favorite part. I'm taking a nap now,
Kaiser 3 is so comfortable. $30 off with the code Elliot. Come on, baby. Hit it.
This kid got a summer job at a water park. Most employees spent their breaks sitting in the shade or eating a pretzel with cheese. And milk! Well, he spent his breaks in the wave pool. Because every single day, people would lose stuff in this wave pool. Sunglasses, necklaces, earrings, wedding rings. People would search for a few minutes and then they would always give up. Then they would leave. So every single break, he would throw on his goggles and he would get into this wave pool. And it's not easy to search the bottom of the wave pool, but this kid was a very talented swimmer and he could hold his breath for an incredibly long time. So he would spend his entire 30-minute break looking around the bottom of this pool. First day, he found a gold chain, then somebody's wedding ring, then somebody's waterproof wallet with $50 in it. Now, he had a decision to make. Should he take this stuff to the pawn shop to see what he can get for this gold necklaces and wedding rings? But he decided to bring it to the lost and found instead. And more people than not came back looking for their stuff, and they were always shocked that it was there, and they all had to thank this kid. It paid off eventually though, because one lady who had lost her incredibly valuable wedding ring came, and when she saw it, she was so relieved. She gave this kid $600. He was so grateful. He became a legend. He kept doing this every single day. It got to the point where his bosses let him take longer than usual breaks because now he wasn't searching just the wave pool. He was in the lazy river, the deep end of the dive pool, everywhere. And everything he found, he brought back to the office. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle. And that's a respectful one. One day, this kid randomly stopped wearing his backpack, and nobody knew why. One weekend, this kid's parents bought a new microwave. So on Monday morning, he starts carrying around all his stuff that would usually be in his backpack, but instead now it's in this empty cardboard microwave box. Not the microwave, just the box it was in. People are staring at him. They're like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Teachers are like, where's your backpack? I like this better. And honestly, it worked better for him. Box stood up by itself. Everything in there was organized. He never had to dig around looking for pencils. So here's the funny part. The next week, some kid shows up to school carrying a toaster oven box with all of his backpack stuff in it. Then the next day, another kid came with a vacuum cleaner box. One guy carried around a crock pot box for like a month. Pretty soon, the hallways of the school looked like a frickin' appliance store. Teachers completely gave up trying to understand what was going on, but this kid was just being weird. He accidentally changed the entire school. He started a crazy trend, but it started to get out of hand because people tried to one-up each other and bring bigger and bigger boxes. Kid brought his stuff in a lawnmower box and it had to be completely shut down. One kid was trying to be funny and was gonna bring all of his stuff in a refrigerator box, but he got stopped at the door. But boy, what a glorious semester that was. That's hilarious. No chewing gum in my class. Ah, rats. Marcus gets caught chewing gum by one of the super strict teachers. Marcus, spit it out. Now, most people would just take their gum and walk it to the trash can. But not Marcus. He's too cool for that. So he takes the gum out, he stands up slowly, he looks at the garbage can across the room. Watch this. Whole class locks in, trying to see if he's gonna make the shot. He launches it. Perfect arc. It's going. The very last second, the gum curves and gets stuck in the quiet kid's hair. Everybody's horrified. They're waiting for this quiet kid to freak out. But the kid never talks and he barely even reacts to this. He slowly reaches up. He touches the gum. It's not coming out easy. It's stuck in there pretty good. Then he calmly opens his backpack and pulls out a pair of scissors. And without saying a single word, he just cuts that chunk of gum right out of his hair. He sets the gum on his desk, puts the scissors back in his backpack, zips it up, and then he puts the hairy wad of gum in his mouth and starts chewing it. Goes right back to taking notes. The strict teacher's like, you know what? He can chew it. I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, that kid's pretty weird. Dumb reasons people got in trouble at school. It was grade school and it was the end of the day. This kid got on his bus, but the bus driver had to wait a few minutes to leave because there were still some students making their way to the bus. So the bus driver suggested they sing a song. All right, students, we're gonna be heading out here soon, but while we wait, let's do a little sing-along, okay? Let's sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That's when this one kid said this. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star sucks. What did you say to me? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star sucks? That's it. The driver then went back to where this kid was sitting and dragged him off the bus and pulled him by the arm to the principal's office. Come on. The heck? Yeah, Miss Henley, this kid threatened me. You should give him a detention. Make him stay. I did not. Sit down. I'm calling your parents. His parents were then called and they were forced to pick him up. They raised this issue to the school superintendent. He then checked the footage of the bus, and they obviously saw that this kid didn't do anything that bad. In fact, the bus driver shouldn't have grabbed him like that. He was fired. This dude sweared this happened when he was a kid. So he was in 4th grade, it was a small country school, and he's out at recess. Well, everybody's running around playing kickball while he's walking towards the metal slide. That's when he said he noticed 2 short people standing under the slide, both dressed like monks. Long robes, weirdly shaped heads, and incredibly bushy eyebrows. He said that they're just standing there smiling at him. They're looking directly at him. Then one of them says, "You don't remember us, do you?" "I don't think he remembers us." He said at that moment he had never felt fear the way he did. He looks around. Nobody else sees these 2 little creepy guys. He runs inside and he tells the teacher. The teacher walks out. She can't find anything underneath the slide, but he swears that they were there. Maybe they were, probably not, but to this day, and he's a grown man now, he says that they were there. What? This kid convinced an entire middle school that these mechanical pencils were collectibles. It started because his dad worked at an office supply company. So one day, this kid shows up to school with a box of mechanical pencils, and each mechanical pencil in this box was the exact same. He labeled each of these mechanical pencils in fine point Sharpie like this. 1 of 25. Then the next one, 2 of 25. Then the third one, 3 of 25, and so on. Each mechanical pencil looked the same, they just had a different number out of 25. He called this first batch Series 1, and one day he managed to sell all 25 of these pencils before lunch. "Hey, my buddy said he got a pencil from you. You got any more?" "No, that's it. There's only 25. Wait till Series 2. So there, he's creating like demand. Limited supply. The next week he starts Series 2, a box of 25 pencils, but this time a different pencil. Again, he sells out. One week he released only 10, and students went crazy for him because there was less, and nobody used these pencils because they didn't want to ruin their value. People were trying to trade things and spend money to complete an entire set, but the most popular kid in the school had emerged. It was the kid who bought 1 of 25 of Series 1, and he said he was never selling. That's crazy. Every summer, this kid hosted the coolest bike ride in town. He would always spend the first part of summer memorizing whose houses were using their sprinklers and which sprinklers would spray onto the sidewalk. So every morning he would ride around and he would see whose sprinklers were on, and then around 2 in the afternoon, he would send a big old group text. "Ride leaves in 10. Pretty soon, there'd be like 20 kids in front of his house with their bikes. This kid would strap a little Bluetooth speaker to his, you would hit play, and he would lead this group. So it's him and like 20 kids on bikes behind him. This whole ride was planned. He would take them right in front of the sprinkler houses, so everyone would get cooled off. Then they would take a turn and dry off, then down a different street with more sprinklers. Kids were screaming, people were having a blast. It was a giant parade of bikes. Then Then, after about a half an hour of riding through walls of sprinkled water, he would drive back to his house where his dad was set up with the grill making hot dogs. Everyone would leave their bikes on the lawn and they would sit, eat hot dogs, drink pop, and have a great time. He never charged a single penny for this water park neighborhood bike ride, but people loved it and it became a tradition. After a couple years, every house on the block put their sprinklers by the sidewalks to make it more fun for these kids. And that, my friends, is absolutely beautiful. He was the coolest kid in school. He played guitar better than most adult musicians. And everybody loved him. If there was a talent show or a bonfire, he would bring his guitar and he would play the most beautiful music. Then one 4th of July weekend, he was out with some friends and somebody brought fireworks. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but this kid was holding fireworks in his hand and apparently they went off too early. All right, guys. A couple months later, he came back to school. He blew off every single one of his fingers. He would walk around with a hoodie on, his hands buried in his pocket. He never looked at anybody. People would say hi to him, but he would just keep walking. And nobody knew what to say because they'd all loved hearing him play guitar. And the truth is, he couldn't play anymore. And it absolutely ruined him because he realized he would never be able to pick up a guitar again. And that was his passion. So kids, if you're seeing this before the 4th of July, be careful. If you're seeing it after, I hope you were careful. Take care. There was a kid at school that sold pencils. Now, yes, it was a simple business, but he had one of these fancy, expensive pencil sharpeners at his house, and they sharpened pencils perfectly. Like the wood around the lead was even. The point was as sharp as a pin. It's perfect. So every night he'd be in his garage watching his TV, sharpening these pencils, and then he would bring them to school the next day. He had this very carefully picked out pencil case that would protect the tips of all these pencils. The next morning he would open it in class and show his classmates. I mean, I already have a pencil, but those look amazing. Something about how perfectly sharpened they were captured people's eyes every single time. He sold them for 50 cents each. And when he would hand these pencils over to the customers, they would hold on to it and look at it like they just bought something very expensive, very rare. Well, word spread, business began to boom, and people all around the school wanted his pencils, which is crazy to me because they could have just sharpened their own. But there was something about his. Some kids even bought them and refused to write with them because they didn't want to ruin how good they were. What? In total, he made around $400. He ran this for like a year, and then he stopped because he bought the pair of shoes he wanted. And what do I always say? Write it in the comments before I can say it. You gotta respect the hustle. My bike chain broke. Call Bike Boy. This neighborhood had this one kid. Everybody called him when their bike broke. He could fix anything. Flat tire, if your chain fell off, the brakes were wonky, call him. Hey, my brakes are wonky. I'm on 5th Street. You called the right guy. He showed up carrying this beat up old backpack. He drove a bike, and attached to the bike was this trailer thing that he would keep all his tools in, spare tires, chains. He had a bike pump. It was a mobile bike repair shop. He even made his own tiny business cards. Tyler's Bike Rescue, and his phone number. The entire neighborhood kept them in their wallets because you never knew when you needed them. Even parents would put these business cards on their refrigerator. Business started getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, he wasn't just fixing bikes. He would install new grips, swap the pedals out for something nicer, adjust seats, improve the seats. He was now a bike repair and customization service. Every afternoon, there'd be 2 or 3 bikes flipped upside down in this kid's driveway, and he'd be working on them. People were paying him pretty good. And by the end of summer, Tyler, this random middle school kid, became the neighborhood's official bike roadside assistance and customization. You gotta respect the hustle. There was this girl on the swim team named Maddie. Hey! And Maddie hated swim practice more than anybody alive. Because every day after school, the team had to get on this humid, disgusting bus and drive across town to the Park District pool. The bus had towels everywhere. The chlorine smell always trapped in the seats. Some kid always eating goldfish crackers for no reason. They're delicious. They're so good. Then after they get to the pool, 3 straight hours of misery would begin. Sprint laps, flip turns, the coach screaming, "Swim faster, you idiots!" People were literally throwing up after they were done. Then one day during practice, the lifeguard suddenly blows the whistle. Everybody out of the pool! Apparently, on the other half of the pool, a kid taking swim lessons pooped, and swim practice was canceled instantly. Everybody goes home, and Maddie realizes this is a life hack. So the next week, she goes to swim practice unusually happy, hidden in her hoodie pocket is a fake plastic poop from the prank store. Halfway through practice, everyone is exhausted doing their sprints. Maddie casually swims to the deep end, drops the fake poop in, and pushes off the wall. At first, nobody notices. Then one kid surfaces and goes, "Poop! Poop!" Instantly, people begin freaking out. Everyone's climbing out of the pool. The lifeguard blows the whistle. The coach looks. Yep, that's poop. Pool gets shut down. Practice gets canceled. At this point, the coach and the swim team had left. But the lifeguards, as they began to clean, they realized this is not a real poop. Nobody ever proved it was Maddie. And from that day on, if a poop showed up, they made sure to check if it was real before practice was canceled. But for that day, she got half the practice off, and she was so proud of herself. Luke goes over to his friend Brad's house for the first time, and right away he can see that the family's pretty strange. This family's pretty strange. Nothing huge, just weird energy. The mom and dad are kind of weird, and the friend Brad keeps saying, "Hey, whatever you do, bro, do not sit in my dad's chair." Okay, I won't. They hang out all night playing video games, eating junk food, doing normal sleepover stuff. Eventually they go to bed. Then around like 2 in the morning, Luke wakes up to go to the bathroom. The house is completely dark and quiet. He walks into the hallway, half asleep. Then he hears something moving downstairs. Like scratching noises. So he looks down into the living room and he is shook. I'm shook. Because Brad's dad is crawling around on all fours. A full-grown man moving slowly around the carpet like a cat. But then it gets worse. The dad then jumps onto the chair, turned towards the family cat, and begins to lick the cat's head. He's grooming his cat. And the cat's just sitting there like, yep, this is normal. Luke said his brain just completely shut down. He ran out of that house, ran 2 blocks away, called his mom, and his mom came to pick him up. He never went to that house or talked to Luke ever again after that. Oh, that's insane. She got the question right. No, she didn't. This girl comes home from elementary school one day. She's genuinely upset over one quiz question that she got wrong. I wrote here that a tomato is a fruit. Sweetheart, a tomato is a fruit. You got that question right. And yeah, a tomato is scientifically a fruit. End of discussion. So the dad writes a note to the teacher. "Hi, my daughter got this question wrong, but technically she is correct. A tomato is indeed a fruit. Thank you." The next day, his daughter comes home. "Hey, Dad, she wrote you back." This is what the note said. She writes this. "Well, a tomato is technically a fruit. Because it is used like a vegetable, we are teaching students that it is a vegetable." That makes no sense. That makes no sense. The dad's just sitting there for a second like, you're literally purposefully teaching students the wrong thing. A couple weeks later, that school has an open house. All the parents are invited, and that teacher is there. He walks up to her. "Hi, I'm Mr. Johnson." "Hi. So, what other completely false things are you teaching my daughter?" She was stunned. Have a good night. Honestly, that makes no sense. "I hate braces." Mikey got braces right before freshman year, and he really didn't want anybody to notice. So the whole summer, this dude's in the mirror practicing, smiling with his lips closed, talking differently. "Hi, my name's Mikey. How are you?" Laughing without showing teeth. Fully rehearsing these facial expressions. First day of school, he thinks he's got it under control. Then English class happens. Also, Mikey's mouth was messed up. He had those rubber bands in different places. Well, the teacher asks a question, calls on Mikey. "So Mikey, what do you think they did with all the cows?" And Mikey responds something that made himself laugh. "They made milk." He smiles big, his braces are showing, but one of those rubber bands that he has connected to his braces comes loose and just straight to the front of the room. Right into the teacher's eye. What was that? Oh no! It came out of Mikey's mouth. It was so unfortunate. Mikey was in the front row. Truly a freak accident, but Mikey was bullied for like a month. Poor guy. "Hey Johnny, come to the bonfire next week." Awesome. Johnny was invited to one of the popular kids' bonfires, and this was a big moment for him. He was hyped. He decided he wanted to be the bonfire guitar guy. You know, the guy that would sit by the fire and play songs and everyone tells him how cool he is. So he buys a guitar with money from his first job. He spends that entire week practicing, okay? Not too bad. They're gonna love this. Fingers shredding, watching tutorials. He's pretty decent. Kind of a natural. And finally, it's the big bonfire night. Like 20 kids there. They're all sitting around. Johnny brought his guitar. He sees his opportunity. Hey, you guys mind if I play a song for you? All right, man. Yeah, go for it. Okay, Johnny. Yeah, play us a song. So he starts playing, and he's actually killing it. Whoa, he's pretty good. Yeah, he is. People are impressed. Then he gets a little too confident. He starts going a little crazier. Fully dramatic rock star mode when all of a sudden, snap! One of the strings breaks and flies up and whips him right in the eye. And in a pure moment of panic, he just throws the guitar off him. Everyone goes silent. Johnny gets his composure. He realizes there's way too many people here for him to be freaking out. He's gonna look like a loser. But when he opens his eyes, he realizes he threw his guitar into the bonfire. And now the guitar is burning like firewood. No one said a word for about 30 minutes. They just sat around that fire warming themselves up with Johnny's guitar he bought to impress everybody. He never lived that down, and he wasted $200 on that guitar. That's nuts. Hector's driving to work one morning when he sees something on his dashboard. It's a jumping spider, and Hector does not do spiders. So immediately he's freaking out. The car's swerving. It's dangerous. He's trying to keep one eye on the road and one eye on this thing. Then the spider disappears somewhere in the windshield. He's gone. For now. The next morning, Hector gets in the car to go to work, and the spider's back. This time, Hector kind of sighs. He's like, all right, you just stay there, okay? And weirdly, after a while, he gets used to it. That spider's there every morning. Oh, hey, morning, buddy! Sometimes on the dash, sometimes on the radio knob. And eventually, Hector starts talking to it on his way to work. Man, it's good to see you today. I didn't sleep well last night, but I think with some coffee I'll be good. If traffic was bad, look at this idiot! That's what I'm saying! If he's late, we're not gonna make it on time today, buddy. At one point, Hector doesn't see him for a few days. He gets worried, but then he pops back up. Okay, there you are! I missed you! Now it's a part of the routine. It's been about a week since he met the spider. And it's his buddy now. One day, he's driving his wife to work. She gets in the car, and she sees the spider. All right, let's go. Ah! Oh, no, that's just... Ew. Don't worry, he's dead now. His wife just killed his best friend, and he's actually devastated. The ride to church is pretty quiet. His wife finally says, are you seriously mad at me right now? And he just cries. You rode with me every single day this past week. He was my best friend. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. Man, that's sad. This teacher had a student that was obnoxious, and anytime she tried to punish him for it, he didn't care. If he got his attention, he would come back smiling. If she called home, he did not care. He liked lunch detentions. He asked to be suspended. Nothing worked, and the kid knew it, and still every single day he would come to class and just be annoying for the sake of it. Limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu. Oh my god, I hate my life. And if he wasn't making weird limu, lamu noises, he'd be tapping pencils, humming, kicking the desk, driving everybody insane. One day the teacher snaps. Hey, what do I have to do to make you stop this? Kid thinks about it for a second, and then he says this. Bring me stuff. What stuff? Candy, snacks, whatever. Now that's absolutely ridiculous. But the teacher was desperate because she's tried everything. There's no punishing this kid. He just doesn't care. So the next day, she shows up with a pack of gum. Hey, here, I brought you this. Thanks. And the transformation is immediate. The kid sits down. He's silent. He does his work. He raises his hand. He's absolutely perfect, and the teacher can't frickin' believe it. Then, the next day, she forgets to bring him something. And immediately, limu, lamu, limu, lamu, limu. Right back to it. And according to the students, she stopped everything she was doing, left the room, ran to the vending machine, and came back carrying 4 bags of mini Chips Ahoy cookies. The kid looked at them, took them, nodded, and went right back to behaving super well. The student trained the teacher to bring him stuff so he wouldn't be annoying. Honestly, kid's a legend. This teacher and this one kid argued every single day, constantly butting heads. Johnson, look at me! No, you look at me. It's one of those things where every single class, kids are just waiting for some crazy stuff to go down between these two. Well, one afternoon, this teacher's fed up with this kid and says, Johnson, if you keep talking, we're gonna have a problem. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. If you keep talking, I'm gonna call your mother. The kid just goes, do it. The teacher goes, oh, I will. My mom's gonna agree with me anyway. The teacher didn't like him talking back. You know what? Just go to the office right now. Go right now. Leave my classroom. Okay. He walks out of the classroom for 1 second, and then he comes back in. You know what? I'm gonna call my mom for you. He dials. It's on speakerphone. It's ringing, and his mom picks up. Hey, Mom, my teacher wants to talk to you. Teacher was panicked, didn't know what to do. The entire class is laughing. Here, I'm gonna hand you over to her. She takes the phone and she hangs up. Kid was still sent to the office, but she kinda looked like a joke after that. Younger siblings, am I right? This guy had a younger brother, and his younger brother always won. Didn't matter what happened. If they fought, he would get blamed. If thing broke, he would get blamed. Parents always hit him with, "You're older. You should know better." The younger brother figured this out fast, so he started using it to his advantage. He would start trouble, poking at him, annoying him, messing with his stuff. Second the older brother reacted, "Dude, get out of here, what's your problem?" He would just scream, "Mom!" And then the older brother gets in trouble over and over and over again. So eventually this kid decides, all right, that's enough. Because no matter what happens, he gets punished. So he's at least gonna get a little bit of revenge. He waited until nighttime and he went into the bathroom that he shares with his little brother. He takes the toothbrush and he puts soap all inside the bristles. He then lets it kind of dry and puts it back in the cabinet. Well, when his brother brushed his teeth that night, it tastes weird, it tastes weird. He's spitting toothpaste everywhere, but his parents are annoyed. They're like, dude, just brush your teeth. Quit being a baby. Your toothbrush is fine. It's normal toothpaste. No, I can't. It's disgusting. Stop being dramatic. And yes, it was simple, but the noise of his brother getting yelled at, even for something so stupid as that, made him happy. This makes me happy. And he slept well that night. Whatever you do, be cool. Dominic spent the entire summer preparing for middle school. He studied the map and he memorized hallways. He wanted to know where he was going because his one goal was he didn't want to look like a lost sixth grader on the first day. So the morning comes, he's got his backpack on and he's nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm ready. First class of the day is Spanish, and the Spanish class is all the way down in the 8th grade hallway, which already feels terrifying. So he's walking through and there's older kids everywhere. And when you're in 6th grade, the 8th graders seem huge. He's walking down the hallway. He's feeling good. He's acting cool. And then he sees a group of older girls, and his confidence kind of takes over. These girls have perfect hair. They're laughing. They're leaning on their lockers. So I told them, get lost. That's an insane thing to say. Did he cry? He decides to try to play it cool. He says hi to the girls, smiles at them, and winks. Ladies? But because he was focused entirely on trying to impress these girls, he didn't see what was right in front of him. A janitor, the janitor's cart, and the janitor mopping up someone's vomit. He runs into the janitor, he slips on the vomit, and he falls into the big trash can that's on the janitor's cart. Oh, loser! He climbs out of that trash can as fast as he can and he runs to that Spanish class. And all that effort trying to look cool, not seem weird, failed. Because for the rest of the year, he was known as Puke Boy. That's unfortunate. This girl goes to a sleepover at her friend's house. She's about 10 years old. And everything is normal. It's a nice house, it's a nice family. Nothing weird. But then bedtime rolls around. And that's when she notices something. You see, her friend has 5 brothers. And all 5 of them share one giant room. She walks past. It's filled with bunk beds. No decorations at all. No posters, nothing like that. It looks like a frickin' barracks. Then the mom starts getting everybody ready for bed. And apparently the boys had a nightly routine. All right, boys, line up. All 5 brothers line up. And she starts inspecting them one by one. Shirts tucked in? Good. Jeans on? Good. Belt fastened? Good. You all look very dapper. Now go to bed. And sends them off to bed. She asks her friend, do they do this every night? Her friend's like, yeah, every night. And just think about how weird that is. No pajamas. In fact, the mom is making them wear a t-shirt, jeans, and a belt to sleep. And then she notices something in there. Each of those bunk beds doesn't have a blanket on it. And the brothers acted like it was completely normal. Now you see, alarm bells are going off in my brain. Someone should probably call DCFS. Because that sounds sus. One summer, this kid owned the neighborhood. Where he lived, his house sat right next to the very popular neighborhood park. The park had basketball courts, baseball field, tennis courts. If you were a kid in that town, you were chilling at that park pretty much every day. One summer, he's there, he realizes, kids seem pretty thirsty. Kids seem pretty hungry. They're walking all the way to their houses to get snacks, and then they're coming back. But then he looks at his garage, which, like I said, is right across the street. And he gets a brilliant idea. The next day, he convinces his parents to take him to Costco. He comes back with coolers, chips, drinks, candy, ice pops, ice cream. Then he opens his garage door, sets up a table, makes signs with poster board and Sharpie, and what he wrote on that sign was snacks for sale. And it works immediately. Step right up, snacks, drinks, ice cream. The baseball kids are stopping by in between games, getting a Gatorade, basketball team's coming over. He's running a freaking concession stand for the kids at the park. What a genius. Then he starts upgrading. He's putting really nice folding chairs in the driveway, sets up a speaker. Now kids aren't just buying snacks, they're buying snacks and they're hanging out. One guy finishes a basketball game and goes, all right guys, meet up at the garage. At one point, there were so many bikes piled up on this kid's lawn, everyone assumed that there was a big birthday party or something. But no, it was just business, baby. The kid wasn't charging crazy prices either. He was making a profit, but it wasn't that much of a profit. He was doing this for the neighborhood, for the kids, for summer. And baby, that sounds awesome. You're trying to ruin my life. Ow. Jake genuinely believed his cat was ruining his life on purpose. Her name was Mildred, and he thought his cat had one mission: to destroy his social life. Because Mildred would pee on everything. His laundry, his backpack. One time, she went into his closet and tore up a bunch of his clothes. Everything is ripped. And the worst part was she wasn't even sick. He thought maybe she's acting out because there's something wrong with her, so he took her to the vet, but the vet's like, she seems incredibly healthy. Meanwhile, Jake's showing up to school smelling like cat urine. Dude, what does that smell? Oh, that's just Jake. What the heck? Jake knew it was Mildred's fault. Then it started escalating. She was pooping in his shoes, sleeping on folded clothes right after they were washed, so everything he wore was covered in hair. For years, Jake thought, this animal hates me. Fast forward 15 years, Jake is grown now. He's got long hair and he's living in an apartment by himself, and he still has that cat Mildred. One day, he's sitting on the couch watching TV. He looks down and there's Mildred. She's very old now, and she's huge, curled up in a ball right next to him. She's obsessed with being near him in every second, and one day it clicks. She just wanted me all to herself. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but all he knows is that 15 years later, he loves that cat more than anything. She loves him. It's kind of sad and beautiful. School prank gone seriously wrong or right. This was back in 1979. Somebody glued all of the locks on all of the doors in this one high school. The teachers show up. They can't open their doors. What the heck is going on? Keys won't even go in. They couldn't even get into the supply closets because those were also glued. Within 20 minutes, the whole building is in absolute chaos. Janitors are trying solvent. Teachers are trying to pick away at the glue. Students just standing around watching this all unfold. Eventually, the principal actually canceled school. School is canceled until further notice, students. Now, here's the thing. This all happened during the nicest week of the year. It was sunny, warm. Everyone wanted to be outside. So instead of being upset, obviously the students were like, all right, days off. We're going to the pool. Yabo. They were tanning, they were listening to music. Because it's the 70s, nobody can text, nobody can call, so they're calling each other. Are we still off school? Is school still canceled? Then they find out from the principal that prom is canceled until whoever did this comes forward. Still, nobody talks at first. 3 full days go by before the school actually replaces the locks. Then eventually, the kid that did this admitted to it. It was me. He gets expelled immediately. School's back in session. Prom is not canceled. But here's the thing. Nobody was mad at him. The students actually loved him for it. Because right before prom, they got a few days off to go to the pool and get their tans on to be tanned for prom. It was a perfect situation. And that sounds awesome. 3 businesses kids ran in their school. One, at this person's middle school, there was a kid that sold dumb lollipops. Well, this kid would just carry them around in a shopping bag at school and sell them for $0.25 each. He kept that business going for a pretty long time and he made like $200. Not bad for a kid. Number 2, this high school made homemade cookies. She would bring them to school and charge people $1 a cookie. Yes, business was booming. People loved these cookies. Apparently, she was a pretty good baker, but the school didn't like this, so they said that she could not sell cookies to people anymore. But these cookies were so dang good that they found a loophole. Students would give her money for no reason, and then she, the next day, would give them cookies for no reason. Feel me? And she kept that business going throughout her entire high school career. And lastly, at this one elementary school, there was a kid that wanted to make a couple extra dollars for ice cream. So one morning, she went into her grandma's bedroom and stole a bunch of her grandma's jewelry. She took that jewelry to school, and during recess that day on the playground, she would sell her grandma's jewelry. Now, Now, obviously, these kids didn't have a lot of money. So, for example, she sold her grandma's engagement ring for 50 cents. Eventually, these teachers saw what was going on and put a stop to this immediately. They tried to get back all of this grandma's jewelry. Obviously, the grandma wasn't too happy, but that kid had quite the entrepreneurial spirit. Gotta respect the hustle. We thought you were cool! Leave my classroom! There was this teacher everybody liked. He's the kind of teacher that would sit with students at lunch and joke around with them. So one day during lunch, this group of kids is sitting with this teacher. It's a normal lunch and they're talking and laughing with him. Then everybody heads off to class. Well, I guess some students in the cafeteria that day trashed it, and the janitor was furious. Stupid kids making a big mess. I'm gonna complain. This janitor tells administration, everyone's talking. I guess this janitor really wanted whoever made this mess to get in trouble. Well, somehow, the cool teacher heard about this and blamed the kids he was sitting with. I was sitting next to Billy, Kevin, Kyle, Steven. They made the mess. Now, all those kids get called to the office. We didn't make the mess at all. Yeah, we were just eating our lunch, chilling, talking. No, yeah, we were sitting by Mr. Erickson. He can vouch for us. But the principal's like, well, kids, he's actually the one that turned you in. The kids feel betrayed. They go to his classroom after school. Yo, dude, why'd you tell the school that we made a huge mess during lunch? We were literally talking to you about GTA 6. Yeah, what? All the teacher did was this. I don't know. Now get out of my classroom. But that's not where it ends. All those kids went home. But the teacher personally called each and every one of those kids' parents to tell them that they trashed the lunchroom, which is a complete and utter lie. And that's the day all those kids learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes the teacher knows they're innocent, but it doesn't matter anyway. I want to be a bird when I grow up. She was in first grade and she really wanted to be a bird when she grew up. She thought about it every single day. Well, one morning during lunch at school, she noticed these red bumps on her arms and her neck. And she whispers to herself, "It's happening. It's happening." She thought her transformation to a bird was happening right then and there, and she was sitting down preparing for feathers to pop out of her skin. She then freaks out and grabs the nearest teacher. Mrs. Johnson? Sweetheart, what is wrong? I'm just a kid. I don't want to become a bird yet. What? The teacher had no idea what that meant. I have no idea what that means. The nurse gets called. Mom gets called. Turns out she was allergic to something she ate during lunch. And it was pretty bad. She had to be rushed to the hospital. That's crazy. At this one middle school, there was this rule, and the rule was called the bubble. The rule was no students in the school were allowed to come within an arm's length of one another in the hallway for any reason. And if kids broke that rule, they would get in trouble. Want to give your friend a high five? Detention. You want to lend your friend a pencil in between classes? Detention. Is your friend having a really bad day and you want to give them a quick hug in the hallway? Extra detention with a possibility of suspension. Give me a break. This guy said that when he was a kid, his mom had this crazy punishment for whenever he talked back to them or used inappropriate language. Hey, I said no Minecraft till you're done with your homework. Homework is dumb, Mom. This is bullshit. Whenever something like that happened, she would force him to smell the dog's breath. Get your dog? Mom, no.
I said get your dog.
Rufus, come here, buddy. Come here, Rufus. I'm just going to hold your mouth open for a second, okay? Smell it. Smell it. What did you eat today, man? Hey, Mrs. Stevens, Johnny's my best friend. Yay. No, the heck he's not. This school had one of the weirdest rules ever. Nobody's allowed to have a best friend. I mean, I guess it wasn't officially, but every single time, if two kids got too close, teacher would step in and separate them. At first, nobody notices the pattern, but if a teacher sees these two students sitting by each other every day, you, come here. What'd I do? You're not sitting by Johnny anymore. Their desks get moved. The kids are laughing together too much. I think you two need some space. And everyone's like, why does this keep happening? But it gets worse. I guess teachers start clocking who is friends with who, and during recess, they send them out separately. Okay, Billy, you go first, okay? You stay here. Not until Billy's done. You guys are not hanging out together. Teachers are trying to stop kids from getting too attached. This was their logic. If kids had a close friend, they wouldn't socialize with other people. So instead of letting friendships happen naturally, they treated it like a freaking problem. To me, is messed up. Every winter, this one patch of ice formed outside the side entrance of the school, and nobody ever salted it. And kids figured out something fast. If you hit it at full speed and land just right, you'll just keep on sliding. It was this long stretch that if executed properly, kids could just slide for what seemed like ever. Groups of people were doing it every morning. Yo! A pile of backpacks here and a line of kids here. It wasn't easy. Some kids wiped out. Some kids went pretty far. Well, one kid showed up, he took it way too seriously. Before and after school, he shows up with two of his biggest buddies. And if somebody wanted to slide on this ice, they had to give him something. What you got? Well, you're in my math class. I'll give you the answer to tomorrow's homework. Deal. He would then let them go and mark down how far they went. 15 feet, 18 feet, 25 feet. Now, everyone's showing up with offerings to get in line to try to beat the best record. This kid's getting tons of snacks, homework answers, random items. That's when one angry janitor sees what's going on and he's like, oh, I can't have this. So every morning he begins salting it. That forgotten ice patch was no more. But for that time, it was awesome. There was a kid at school named Max, and they called Max the raccoon. Yo, what's up? Because Max could find furniture anywhere. Didn't matter what it was. Gaming chairs, mini fridges, lamps, half a trampoline one time. And whenever someone asked where he got it, he would always say, the curb, or garbage can behind Jewel. Now behind the school was this tiny little forest area that students were technically banned from going into, which obviously made kids want to go in there more. But one day, Max decides, I'm gonna build a hangout in the woods. So at first, he drags out 2 lawn chairs and a milk crate. Then the next week, there's a couch and a rug. Then somehow, a standing lamp connected to a generator. Every day after school, this dude is dragging more and more furniture out to this hangout spot, and it's looking awesome. And kids began to hang out there every day. Portable speakers, Uno games, snacks, the mini fridge. By springtime, there was multiple couches, Christmas lights. It was a complete vibe. People would literally say, hey, you going to Max's place later? And by that, they meant the woods. Teachers had no idea this existed until one day a janitor went back there and discovered what looked like a fully furnished living room hidden behind the school in a patch of trees. He gets the principal walks back there. What is... Oh my God. He had everything removed. But he did say, that's impressive. And it was impressive. This kid went to a Catholic school in Florida. Florida. And if you've ever been to Florida, you know that there are lizards everywhere. On walls, sidewalks, just chilling by the pool. It's a lovely day. So one day, this little lizard gets inside this school building. It's in a classroom. And everyone's freaking out for some reason. The teacher's consistently saying, nobody touch it! Nobody touch it! And this one kid thought she was scared. That's why she was saying it. So he chased the lizard around. He picked it up. He caught it. Don't worry, miss. I got it. I'll go put him outside. The teacher then gets really weird. Oh. You shouldn't have touched the lizard. Why? You just invited the devil into your soul. That's funny. No, I'm serious. Get in the hall. She then sends this kid out into the hallway and calls this nun to come up. The nun then takes him to the chapel part of school where she prayed over him for the rest of the day. And this kid is sitting there. The nun also made the kid watch her kill the lizard with a cross. I'm not sure what kind of Florida Catholic school this is, but that's crazy. If you can't eat it, you need to wear it. This kid's parents had this unbelievably weird dinner rule. Every night at dinner, if you refused to eat your food or you got full before your plate was finished, you had to wear your food. I don't want to eat my peas. Put the peas in your hair. Or, I'm too full to eat these mashed potatoes. Then rub the mashed potatoes all over your head. Apparently, this kid's parents thought this was teaching him discipline or something. One night, this kid refused to eat his green beans. I don't want to eat them. And I can't eat my spaghetti either, I'm so full. Well, then you better line up each and every one of those green beans in that ugly mullet of yours. And make sure you drape all the noodles over your head as well. You know the rules in my house. So he puts it all on his head. And the thing is, they wouldn't let him shower after this until right before he went to bed. So God forbid they had guests come over. What is he gonna say to him? Sorry, I smell and look weird. My parents made me mush all my food over my body. Oh. That's actually super messed up. Her mom's boyfriend was nice at first. Helpful, friendly. Hey, Kayla, I brought you home some McDonald's. Thanks, Mark. He treated her great. Then he married her mom. And almost overnight, he stopped talking to her completely. Hey, Mark, how's your day? He would walk past her like she wasn't even there. Then her little brother was born. And that's when it got worse. She said he basically decided that she didn't belong in the house anymore. First, he stopped cooking for her. He told the 14-year-old, if you want food, buy your own. But she also wasn't allowed to get a job. Then he would take her laundry out of the washer mid-cycle to put his own in. And he would throw her wet clothes just on the floor. Why'd you do this? He would always scream that it was because, this is my machine. I bought it. And then as a punishment, she would make her do everyone else's laundry and fold it all. He banned her friends from coming over, never let her take the classes she wanted at the park district, and then he did one thing that she said that she would never forget. She went away to school camp for 2 weeks. She came back excited to get home. She walked into her room, looked at her bookshelf. All my books are gone. Every single one. Turns out, while she was away, he had been using her book collection to start fires in the fireplace. One by one, burning them for kindling. And that is another example of a horrible person. He slept through every single math class. The teacher talking, he was asleep. Putting notes up on the board, dude was knocked out. Everybody got used to seeing him face down on his desk. Well, one day the teacher was absolutely sick of this. I'm absolutely sick of this. One morning, the teacher stopped in the middle of the class and he wrote a complicated problem on the board. He then told the person sitting next to this kid, hey, Billiards, wake him up. Hey, wake up, man. The teacher then says this. Since you've been paying attention so closely all class, solve this problem for me. You have 4 minutes. The whole class is waiting for this kid to get embarrassed. He immediately walks up to the board. He's still exhausted. He takes the marker. He begins writing. 3 seconds later, he says, done. The teacher's like, yeah, no way. Let's see. It was perfect. The kid sits back down and puts his head right back on the desk. A few days later, the teacher tries again. Wake him up. I got a really hard one this time. Bro, 273.67. That's correct. It becomes a thing. He tried a few more times before he just stopped bothering him. Just let him sleep throughout every single class because he always got A's on the test and he always did his homework. So why can't the kid sleep? Yeah, it's 2 weeks till senior graduation. That kid decides he's gonna pull a prank that nobody will ever forget. Most senior pranks involve balloons, sticky notes, baby oil. Well, this dude somehow gets his hands on an actual beehive. It was in my backyard. I put it in the trash bag. And his genius plan is to bring it to school and release it. Okay, well, that's actually so dangerous. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the punchline's supposed to be here. Kid with a bee allergy having to be taken to the hospital? Who knows? He ties up the garbage bag that the beehive's in and he throws it over his shoulder. And he gets on the bus, mister. He's thrown on the bus, everything's fine at first. Then a kid noticed a bee. Oh God, there's a bee in here. Then there was another one. Oh God, there's another bee in here. Then another, then another, then another. The senior kid is like, oh my God. The bees had buzzed their way through this garbage bag. And now the beehive is open. The next 30 seconds were complete and utter craziness. Kids screaming, people hiding underneath the bus seats, but everybody was getting stung. And yes, there were kids in the bus that were allergic to bees, and yes, they had to go to the hospital. The funny part is, when the bus driver first noticed all these bees, he put the bus in park and left the bus. But then he realized he's in charge of these kids. I gotta go back. And he drives the bus to a nearby hospital and they take it from there. But they found out who brought the beehive in and he wasn't able to graduate. But that makes sense because what a dumb prank. This kid wore a fake cast for Halloween one day. The costume was simple. Sweatpants, old hoodie, and a cast. I guess he was going as a kid with a broken arm. But on Halloween, no one's telling him, hey, I like your costume. Everyone's saying, oh my God, are you all right? And asking to sign his cast. Oh, yeah, you can sign it. People are holding doors open for him. The teachers are letting things slide. So he keeps the cast on another day. The lunch lady's giving him extra food. One guy even carried his backpack for him. So he wore it for the whole week. People are constantly asking, hey bro, how'd it happen, man? And this guy's so dumb, he changed his story every time. Skateboard accident, or bike crash, or I fell out of a tree. And no one's comparing notes, so nobody notices it. Then things start escalating. The teacher lets him not carry his textbooks. He got extra time on an assignment. Then one day gym class happens. It's a pretty big class with a lot of students in it. Then there was a substitute. The sub asked, hey kid, how'd you break your arm? And he goes, football practice. And everyone's like, wait, hold on a minute. I thought it was a skateboard accident. I thought it was a tree. I thought it was a bike. He was caught up. They found out he's been faking. And he was the most hated kid for the rest of the year. That's hilarious. This kid never got in trouble. He was quiet. He got good grades, which is why nobody suspected him when everything started. It begins during first period. Some girl in this class suddenly jumps out of her seat. The teacher runs over. Then immediately after, someone hears another scream from a different classroom. And then every 15 minutes, all day, from all around the school, screams. Because why? The screams meant somebody found a mouse. But it's not normal mice. Bright blue mice. Pink mice. Green mice running through the classrooms and the school, and nobody knows where the heck they came from. And because each of these mice were a different color, they figured somebody had to have brought these into school. So they started going around and searching people's backpacks. Well, what nobody knew was that that quiet kid, that smart kid, was preparing for this for weeks. You see, I have a pet snake at my house. He eats mice. I've been stockpiling them, and he was dyeing them different colors using Easter egg dye. Then, on the day of the prank, he shows up to school wearing a trench coat, and he'd modified the inside of the coat so it could fit all of these mice. And all morning long on that particular day, he would walk through the school and slowly, one at a time, drop a mouse here, drop a mouse there, drop a mouse everywhere. The funniest part was nobody knew it was him. The only reason we know is because he shared the story. He's an old guy now. But the sad part is, most of those mice died that day. Rest in peace. This is out of control. When this neighbor's 16-year-old daughter crashes her bike into his car, and what the heck? She immediately gets off, starts crying, and calls her mom. The scratch looks awful at first, but he takes it to a shop, and after a few minutes of buffing, it comes right out. No big deal. So he tells this girl and her mom, don't even worry about it. It was an accident. And he thinks that's the end of it. A couple days later, the mom texts him, my daughter still feels terrible, and she wants to apologize properly. Can we bring you over a cake? He says, sure, that sounds nice. Everybody loves cake. So they show up that evening, and this 16-year-old girl is holding a cake. The mom is standing a few feet behind her with a phone out. The girl starts apologizing. Here, again, I'm so very sorry. I take full responsibility for the scratch and for crashing into your car. Mom's behind her filming. Speak louder, sweetie. I take full responsibility. Okay. The mom then whispers, go ahead, now ask him if he accepts your apology. But that's when he notices the phone. Wait, stop. Are you recording this? Yeah, I'm gonna post it online. It's gonna teach a bunch of kids to take responsibility for their actions. What? I can even blur your face if you want. He looks at the girl and says, I accepted your apology the day it happened. Then turns to the mom and says, yeah, I'm not doing your stupid video. The mom immediately gets irritated, starts arguing with him. Oh my gosh, you couldn't even let us finish? Let us do the video? Then he just walks back inside. What a weird apology. Because it wasn't for him or for the daughter. It was for the camera. The mom, I guess, wanted to go viral. Jeez. This kid's grandpa was a courtroom sketch artist. And for some reason, instead of his grandpa teaching him normal stuff, his grandpa taught him how to sketch. Hey, good job, kid. You're doing great. Hey, thanks, Gramps. Well, see, this kid was in middle school. He really wanted to draw stuff for court cases, but, So one day he talks to his smartest friend. And the friend goes, why don't you make your own court? And they did. That smart kid became the judge. A couple of other friends became attorneys. And every day during lunch, they would set up in the corner, and then they start spreading the word. Anybody who has a beef with anybody, take it to lunch court. We'll settle this. Then word started to spread. Any type of beef that any friends would have, they would come to lunch court. Kids would walk up, explain their side. The attorneys would argue. The judge would make a ruling. And this entire time, this kid's just sitting back, sketching everything like it was an actual trial. And it would get intense. One kid brought his own witness statements from different classmates. Evidence started to be involved in these cases. There was a wait list of students waiting for their trial date. The kid who was the judge started carrying around this notebook filled with all the cases he's doing. Suddenly, he's stressing out. And this kid had a giant binder filled with these courtroom images. And honestly, that sounds like so much fun. There was a weird kid at school that everybody avoided. He was really quiet. Well, one day, he brings a cake into class and sets it on the teacher's desk. What is this? I made it. Oh, okay. Whose birthday is it? Nobody's. I just made it. Oh, nice. Well, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna bring it to the teacher's lounge, okay? Huh? Comes back. Class moves on. The cake is now sitting in the teacher's lounge. Everybody's kind of skeptical. They're like, I'm not eating that cake. Well, 3 teachers decide, hey, why not? I like cake. So they start eating it. Within an hour and a half, those teachers start leaving their classrooms. Their stomachs are going crazy. Oh no. Ouch. Subs have to come in. The office is kind of scrambling. The teachers spend the next few hours in the bathroom. Then somebody connects the dots. It's the cake. They keep it. They have somebody test it. The next day, they find out the cake was filled with laxatives. The kid gets pulled out of class. Yo, come with me.
Oh, okay.
And then he's gone, and he never shows up to school ever again. Why in the world would he do that?
আমি না হয় আঙ্কেলকে ফোন দিয়ে বলি যে আমার আপনাকে পছন্দ হয়নি, আপনি যেভাবে বলবেন আমি সেভাবে করে দিচ্ছি।
করোনা আমারে হচ্ছে গিয়ে জুতা চুরি করে ফেলছে। হ্যাঁ, খালি পায়ে ঠোসা পড়তেছে। আমার অনেক মারে, আমাকে মেরে ফেলবে। আমি তো পাগল না, আমি বুঝাইছি। হ্যালো ব্রাদার, সিগারেট।
ময়লা ময়লা চুল আরাম হবে, আরাম লাগে।
চুলে শ্যাম্পু,
চলো শ্যাম্পু, একটু পানি দিয়ে নেই।
বগলে চুল।
জি হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম ডক্টর, আমি জুই বলছিলাম। জি ভালো আছি। আচ্ছা, আমাকে একটু আদনানের ব্যাপারটা একটু ক্লিয়ার করে বলা যাবে কি? কোনো কি উপায় নেই?
যখন টাকা হবে তখন নিয়ে যাব। তারপর সেই জাহাজে নামাবো কোথায় জানো? সমুদ্রে। ইসেম, আমি পাগল না আজকে। আমি এটা খেলে কি তোমাকে মারবা?
না, তুমি তো খাচ্ছ, আমি কি তোমাকে মারতেছি?
কবিগুরু রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুর বলেছেন, সব ষড়যন্ত্র এই মির্জাফরের।
বাবা বারবার বলতেছে কারা জানি কেউ মারছে, একটু সাহস হয়েছে নাকি?
জানি না।
জানি না মানে? আমি তো ভাবলাম একটু একটু বেড়েছে, তা না হলে এখানে ডাকলে।
ও সরি, আমি আমার কাকে কি বলি? তুমি তো আমার 1,00,000 টাকা বেতনের চাকরিই করো না, তুমি কি হয়ে দিবা?
আমি বুঝি আমার মেয়ের সিকিউরিটি। শোনো, তোমাকে 15 লাখ টাকাই দিতে হবে একটা, কিন্তু আমি এখানে এক মুহূর্ত আর থাকবো না। আমার এখানে দম বন্ধ হয়ে মারা যাবো আমি।
শৈলী রাতে বাড়িতে চলে এসেছে। তাছাড়া
তুমি যাচ্ছ বিপরীতে, আবেগ বাড়ছে বহু।
ভাই আজকে না ভাই, বুঝছেন কাজের চাপও বেশি, আর বাসায় ফিরতে হবে। সিঙ্গেল মোড
মানে পরিচিত কোনো আদার্স ভালো অপশন যদি থাকে সেখানেও আমাকে একটু রেফার করেন।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, তুমি প্যারা নিও না।
ওইভাবেই বাবার সাথে কথা বলবো। এখন তুমি কি বলো বলো, কিন্তু এখন আমাদের একটা সুস্থ জীবনে ফিরে আসা উচিত, একটা নর্মাল লাইফ লিড করা উচিত।
না হলে না হবে, আমার কোনো প্যারা নাই তো। আরে চাকরিটা
আর কত বলবো তোরে?
শোনো মা, প্রোগ্রাম আছে, ওটা শেষ করেই আসবে, আমাকে বলেছে, কথা হয়েছে।
আর আসছে যেমন ছেলে।
হ্যাঁ বাবা।
একটা ভালোবাসাকে, একটা সম্পর্ককে। আমার আসলে দুটো নারী থেকে একটা নারীকে বেছে নিতে হয়েছে।
যেখানে কোনো সম্ভাবনা নেই সেখানে আপনার জীবন জড়িয়ে নষ্ট করে কী লাভ?
আমার একটা মা আছে, হ্যাঁ, মার কোলের ভিতরে তো বসে থাকি, দায়িত্ব অনেক। তোর তো কিছুই ঠিক নাই, তুই আমার সাথে আয়, তো আয়, আমার সাথে আয় না। এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট এক মিনিট আপনার একটা মাস্টার্স কোর্স করতে হবে। Why? What is this, man?
আমি চাই তুমি ভালো থাকো। আর শোনো, যে জাহাজটা যদি সত্যি সত্যি বানাও তাহলে আমাদেরকে ইনভাইট করো, হ্যাঁ?
তুমি সারাক্ষণ সমুদ্রের সাথে ফিসফিস করে কথা বলবে আর আমি হিংসে করব। আমার হয়তো একটু সাহস বেড়েছে, বোকা ছেলেটা প্রেমে করেছে। আর বিড়ি নিয়ে গেছে, বিড়ির প্যাকেট একটাও ছাড়া নাই, সবগুলো দুমড়ে মুচড়ে বের হয়ে চলে গেছে। খাবো কি?